Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah, online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, coming to you from the North Park building at Academy Square, episode 225 on deck, or at least that's what the counter in front of me says. We're catching 31st lap, one slow month at a time. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to pass them coming up in August. I know the host, he's an okay guy.
By them, you mean you?
Yeah, that's right. That's that's exactly right. We would at this point, I believe now we're within a couple episodes. I think we need to get 8 more in to have the 2 longest running shows on Finger Lakes 1, number 1 and number 2. And kind of weird that soon the number 1 episode on Finger Lakes 1 will be about Demolition Derby, which is kind of cool. A couple birthdays to make note of. Jonathan Mew celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to him. Mad Mike DeFrecia, I think he had a birthday yesterday. And a couple other people. Kyle Mortensen having a birthday today as well. Happy birthday to all those guys. A little bit oddball combination coming to you on a Wednesday night. We had some stuff happening Sunday night into Monday, and then some more stuff that happened throughout the day Tuesday that forced us to reschedule things a little bit. But thoughts and prayers going out to all those people. And that's not a Twitter thoughts and prayers. It's actually a meaningful one. We've been thinking about you guys a lot the last couple of days, so hopefully everybody continues on a quick path to recovery despite the very, very long roads ahead of them. We're going to have Tim Clark on the show tonight in a little bit at the bottom of the hour to talk about the Street Stock Team Show that is on deck at the Fayette Co Fairgrounds in Ohio. Everybody knows that is the former home of Bash for Cash. So Team Street Stock Show, got a couple good ideas that he's come up with for that. But ahead of that, we're going to catch up with Ben Plate, who Ben is going to be in action in just about a month. It's a month from tomorrow. And his first trip out to May Mania in Salt Lake City, Utah. Ben joining us now, standing in front of a cook and grill, which is adjacent to a car that apparently still needs a little bit of work in the next 30 days. Ben, how are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. So first things first, before we go any further, in your first trip out to Utah, where we've seen injuries happen before, last time you talked to us, you went out and broke your hand the next time. I think we end that streak now, right? That's not going to happen?
That's the plan anyway. But I'm not going to May Mania. We're going out in July for the Wasatch Wipeout.
Okay.
That's the one that we're going to run.
Perfect. So all the same, still making your first trip out there, and you're joining some rather elite company in that sense that you're going to be a driver who has been able to compete in New York and in Utah. We haven't had a lot of people that have been able to pull that double running on the East Coast and go all the way out there.
Yeah, I guess we like to travel every now and then. It makes it for a vacation when you take the wives with you.
For sure. The event itself, and in terms of putting it together to get out there, I know Johnny Gullo's been pretty active promoting both May Mania, which is coming up in a month, and that Wasatch Wipeout show, which is, realistically, it's going to be here faster than we're probably prepared for. What played into the decision of getting out to that event and being part of that show and putting Utah on the calendar?
I was just sitting at home one day, and Michael Lingert called and said, "Hey, you want to go out and run in Utah?" I was like, "All right, let's go." And so we sent some entries in. As simple as that.
Pretty simple logic right there.
Yeah, it's kind of the build that we like to build too, and the money is insane out there, so we might as well go try it anyway.
What are you guys going to take out?
What's that?
What are you guys going to take out for a car?
Oh, I don't know. Probably a couple Crown Vics. You never know.
They're becoming more popular out there.
I'm going out in May to watch, kind of get a feel for how things go out there, and kind of a scouting mission.
You're going to learn some stuff out there about what their pace is. It's so much different being out there in person and seeing how fast that pace really gets up to, and you're also going to get the opportunity to see such a wide variety of cars. You're going to see your complement of GMs just like you would see more or less any place else. Being from Iowa, you see plenty of Cadillacs and things along those lines, but also you get a chance to see some of the oddball, unique stuff. We've seen some late 50s entries, we've seen some unique Chrysler combinations and things like that. It's a fun trip to make.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different than what you see around here in the Midwest, I think. The whole aspect of it's different, bigger arenas and everything.
In terms of the scouting mission, is there anything in particular that you're looking to see? I know out our way anyway, when there's a first-time promoter coming up or a first-time show, drivers go there to look at a number of different things, but the builders go there specifically to see what the tech inspection process is like. What is it that you're going out there with the hopes of learning or getting a better feel for?
We want to see the pace of the show, how they're driving out there, what the tracks look like, see how the inspection goes, and just stuff like that.
Heber's got a unique surface. It's a little bit sandy, but it's really hard underneath, and when they put a little bit of water to it, it can tighten up quick. But then it transitions into this almost, I think the way we described it in past episodes is it's got this loomy feel to it, where there's a pretty good clay content mixed in with the sand, so it gives it this ribbon effect. At the same time, I don't remember anybody off the top of my head getting stuck in the surface because the base in it is so tight and it allows them to drive as aggressive as they do. And that's one of the things that we're going to see regardless of where you're at, whether you take the show in Heber or check things out at May Mania, which is now at the facility in Salt Lake City, that Spirit of 47 Arena, that gigantic multi-million-dollar complex that they're still in the process of building. They're going to be adding some jumbotrons and stuff in the coming years. So that is one thing that I think is going to catches a lot of people by surprise. You think Utah is in the middle of a desert and you're going to have a real sandy track, and that's not the case.
Yeah, it looks, from the YouTube videos I've watched, it looks like it gets pretty rough. The track gets rough. But seeing those arenas with all those people, it looks pretty awesome, too. I see that you have to order your tickets, even sit in the stands way ahead of time because it sells out every time.
And one of the weird things about that is even though it sells out ahead of time, a lot of times the fans don't stick around for the feature. And that's not saying that the shows run long. That's not saying that they do a bad job of towing the cars off. It's not any of those typical complaints when the crowd leaves. They're there to see the big hits, and once the cars are already twisted and start to get into a point where the fans think that they're going to just limp around, they check out. They go find something else to do.
That's the best part of a derby usually.
Yeah, we've heard that numerous times from talking to different promoters in Utah, is that, a lot of times it's got to be, what they say, 3 hours and done. And a lot of times by the time the feature gets there, half the arena's left because they don't think they're going to be seeing the big hits. So it's definitely, they're definitely intense about their derbying out there as fans, but they look at it a little weird, but,
Whoops.
Oh, excuse me. Kind of what makes the derby world go
Not
around.
used to a Wednesday, huh?
It was a long night last night.
You stayed up and watched the shake-up on SmackDown, huh?
I did not.
Now you're all exhausted?
I did not. I actually wasn't feeling well, fell asleep early, and woke up wide awake at like 11 o'clock at night.
That's helpful. That's
So then I watched a couple cop shows till like 2, and just wasn't a good night of sleep.
Cops, that'll put you to sleep.
No, like NYPD Blue or something like that.
Oh.
I couldn't remember the name of them.
I understand. Gotcha. When we saw you guys at in the extreme class, you guys had a Mopar, and Josh made the comments about the class being someplace where you take the cars that you don't want or you don't know what to do with or you got no place else to run, and you can just get rid of them in the two-man extreme class. And then subsequently we saw a ton of Mopars out there because nobody knows what to do with them in the Midwest because they have the ability to get so much cleaner, better stuff. You guys did well in the Chrysler, and the Chryslers are a popular car out there in Utah. Did it cross your mind at all about building one of those to take out there for that event?
Yeah, a little bit. I've just pretty much, since Blizzard Bash, I've just been stripping cars. So I've got a few of them sitting here stripped out, ready to go. But I haven't decided if I'll take a Chrysler or a GM or a Crown Vic. It's hard to say yet.
They've also got some unique rules in terms of their engine cradles and what you're allowed to do in terms of top halves, lower halves, mid plates, pulley protectors, things like that. How far, you said this is kind of in your preference of build, how far removed is that equation out there from what you're accustomed to?
It's not too much different. I mean, we run Blizzard Bash every year, and we've got the full mod setups, but
Sure.
I'm over the mods cars. I like to do the drive for 5 type rules, maybe a small
Right.
training brace, and that's about it for protectors at lower engine cradle. So we don't have to change a whole lot of stuff to come out there.
But is it important still to make sure that you have at least a transmission cradle and at least an engine cradle?
Yeah, the way those guys come in so hard on you out there in the high speeds, it's a good way to break a block or break something if you don't have it protected a little bit. But I think the rules allow it to be in there to do what it's supposed to do, protect your equipment, not wedge it in your car to make your car harder.
Sure. The combinations, depending on where you go, they can be absolutely obsolete, where you're not allowed to use them at all. You can't have them. They're non-existent, and people are breaking equipment like what Ben just referenced. But at the same time, you can go to the other extreme where you can have the heaviest cradle possible, and it's still not enough to protect the front half of your transmission or to keep your block from breaking because of the shear forces when those heavy cars go colliding into one another, either perpendicularly or nose to nose.
That's the thing we've touched on. I mean, you can have all the bolt-on extras you want. I mean, you're going to break the weakest point. That's just that's how it's. And you find those quickly when two 8,000-pound cars collide at 40. You're going to find out what's weak quick. It's one of those things. I mean, with the build progressing the way it has, I mean, some of this stuff has helped. But I mean, you're still going to find out, and that's kind of what we ran into in Florida. The mod cars, when we were down there for the team show, they were breaking transmissions just running across the track, while the stock class that we had down there, I don't think anybody broke a transmission from anything other than hitting. I mean, if you want to go to the extreme, you're a lot more susceptible to stuff that happens on the track. I guess guys, with the rules and the shows out there, they can pick and choose what they want to run. But I mean, there's definitely advantages and disadvantages both ways.
Ben, you're joining. We hit on it a little bit. Some unique company. I was trying to run mentally through the list of folks who have driven at the extremes of the East Coast and also been that far west to participate. And a couple of names came to mind. First and foremost, Sam Bando. Mm-hmm. In addition to yourself, Josh and Ben, obviously, because they had the cars at Halloween Havoc after they've run out here for decades. Mm-hmm. Joker. Mm-hmm. Joker, Matt Greshel's run in the Carolinas before and also been out there in Utah. But you're amongst them. Beyond that, I was trying to figure out who had done both sides, and it's a fairly short list. As small as the Derby world has become with Facebook and as much travel as has happened. Johnny Gullo, obviously, he's another guy who's been on both sides of the equation. But
Gumby,
and Jim Simcoe, Gumby. I don't know if Lazenby ever got out to the East Coast to compete.
I don't believe so.
But I'm thinking we're somewhere around less than a dozen drivers.
Oh, absolutely.
That have been able to do that. I mean, it's some unique company that you keep in having been on all those running the gamut of where things are at for Demolition Derby. Did that at all kind of register on your radar?
No, it didn't really. The East Coast was kind of easy a couple of years ago. Ryan Oldham, a friend of mine that I run with, his wife's family lives out there, so they said, let's go out there and run. And now that Ryan's moved out there, I'm sure we'll go out there again more frequently. Mm-hmm. But Utah, they pay so well out there, it'd be worth a try anyway.
Yeah, the Wasatch Wipeout, we'll go through some of the details of that in a little bit. The Wasatch Wipeout at the end of July, $90,000 in purse money.
That's insane.
And they're expecting about a 25-car field.
Yeah.
They're telling you ahead of time, we're going to have about 25 cars. So I feel like your odds are pretty good when you're looking at it's a $25,000 to win Derby and a $90,000 purse.
Yeah, that's insane.
Some pretty good money. That's a little above county fair money out here.
Yeah, just a touch.
Yeah, it beats it out in the Midwest too. But I guess I could stay home and take a beat, and I don't have to go clear to Utah for one. But why not?
It's always. I mean, it's always fun to go someplace you've never been, and compete against guys you never ran against. I mean, like Chris said, the derby roll's definitely gotten smaller. So, I mean, if you had the chance to do it, I mean, you might as well go for it. I mean, it's who knows? Maybe you go out there and win yourself $25,000. That'd come in handy.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
I think the Mad Dog alone is $5,000.
Yeah, okay.
just to win that.
Yep.
I think in Utah it's as hard to win the Mad Dog Award as it is to win the feature.
I think it's
That's what it looks
harder.
like from the videos I've seen. They don't mess around out there.
I think it's harder to win Mad Dog. We were talking about it when we were at Capital City Carnage. It's kind of like when the feature starts. It's almost like and Chris, you've been there more than I have. So, but if I remember the conversation right, I think it was Josh and Ben, or Josh was talking about finishing second out there. He said you go out there and there's 10 or 12 cars on the track because that's all that can make it. It's like it kind of starts out slow, and then the guys that are running hard for the Mad Dog, they kind of take care of themselves, and all of a sudden there's like 4 cars left. Mm-hmm. So then there's 4 cars that are kind of in the running for the win at the end. So I mean it's definitely a different sort of feature than what we've been seeing for so long, but it's weird. I mean it's definitely it's like I said, now what we're used to seeing, but it's
we've been there a couple times to see it play out, and there's been two sort of distinct feature styles out there. The first one was the slow domino, where everybody out there is running circles to wait for somebody else to make a mistake, where they're blowing not so much blowing donuts, but turning laps and waiting for somebody to make that first shot. And as soon as somebody makes that first shot, one of those 2 or 3 cars that's the first one to make an impact, they're out. And then it goes back to the circle. And it's that slow domino where it's one car, one car, one car, one car, one car. And not so much even a draft as Ben would allude to. It wasn't a pecking order, so to say, where you're going to need to go make sure you take that guy out, and then you're the next one to go out and order. It was whatever opportunity presented itself. And then the other style feature out there is that mass die-off and then chess match, where you have 1 or 2 cars go out early with something dumb. Then you lose 8 within 2 or 3 minutes, and then those
wide open.
Right, because because their bumper is behind their carburetor now, and then you've got the 4, 5, 6 cars that are out there going for the money. That still run hard. I mean, you can't take anything away from Brad Bowman, who finished third he finished third at Wasatch Wipeout last year, and was probably on his way to winning it. He was going after Randy Mikowski, going after him, and picked on him until he was done. Unfortunately, he backed up against the blocks at one point, and then the transmission let go. Yeah. And it was over. And then from there, Clay Stewart was able to finish the job and came away with it. And really, that was a pretty emotional win for Clay anyway. Yeah. That was a pretty special run for him. Ran in dedication of his mom, and he got a car that was his car that he really wanted to run anyway, and he got it for next to nothing. It was one of those meant to be moments that Derby presents every now and again. But there's those 2 different, I guess those are the synopsis of the 2 different feature styles that you'll see out in Utah. And then, Ben, you take what we just described there and you compare that to what you're accustomed to in Iowa and in Blizzard Bash and points in between. And I guess the question that sort of comes to mind is, we think about all those pieces together, is it better to be a finesse driver in that situation based on what you've been able to see on the videos? Obviously, the answer to that question might be different after you go out for Mania next month.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think a guy has to keep his head cool a little bit and kind of pick your shots. It's a marathon. You got to be around at the end if you want to win. But you don't want to let someone else tear your car up for you either.
That's the thing. I mean, like a year ago when we went to Capital City Carnage, Teddy Papadopoulos won the Mad Dog there, and he drove hard all through the heat, and then he drove hard until he was done in the feature.
Well, John Muse did that just a couple weeks ago when we were out there again.
Yep, John. John. I think their quote was he didn't plan on running for Mad Dog. That's why he brought a wagon, but he was kind of forced into it. He wasn't in the draft in the heat, so he had to run hard, and then that's what he had, the cards he was dealt in the feature. But it's hard to do that in Utah because the tracks are so big and the hits are so big. it's hard to run for a long time in two different shows to try to get that Mad Dog. I mean, if you set out there to do it, you got to have a well built car, and you can't just make bonsai shots. You gotta make the shots that count. It's
Nick Wolf went out there with that intention at Heber City. Had his car painted up like Mont's car, and ran Mont's number and everything with the intention of dedicating that run and winning the wooden carving of Mont Sweat's car, and he did that. He was able to do that. And the thing with Teddy, and John as well, for that matter, is they went out there and they put it on the floor, and they never held still. They had tracks that were typical in terms of being rectangular, and they were able to back it up, keep straight lines, and whatever's in front of them, hit the shot, drive through the shot, and everything. And Nick Wolf, we saw him do a lot of that in Heber last year, in terms of well-placed shots, picking wheels, tires, axles, things like that. The wild card with Utah is how the track ends up taking that oval feel, and if you set sail to be a Mad Dog and put that heavy shot on, there's somebody waiting to hit you from behind, and that corner shot, that diagonal shot, Ben, you can attest to this, having been in Mopars before, that can change your night drastically if you move again.
Sure.
If you move again.
Yep.
Yeah, the back of those Mopars.
In a derby like that, there's always someone that's going to try to follow you in.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. When we went out to Lazenby show, that was the thing that really stood out. Is there was. Each heat there was like one of those where they'd run the laps, and then somebody'd break off, and then 4 guys would pile into the corner like a banger style race,
right.
And maybe 2 of those cars would pull away, and the other 2 would be just absolute junk. But yeah, that's definitely something you got to worry about when you're out there running in Utah.
It definitely poses some challenges for everybody. How's Michael feel about it? Is he looking forward to it?
I think so. He's ready. He hasn't run since Blizzard Bash either, so everybody's kind of starting to get the itch again now.
Right.
How many hours you figure it'll take you guys to haul out there?
It says it's 16 hours from my house. We'll drive it straight through. I would say probably 16 or 17 hours, I think.
Oh, that's
It was 21 to Whitney Point when we went out there, so this will be a little bit shorter. Hopefully we don't blow a bunch of trailer tires going across Nebraska when it's 110 degrees out.
Yeah, that would not be good.
That would definitely be a good move to make, not enduring that challenge. Sure. You guys are flying out for the trip in May. Is Michael going with you?
Nope. Jared Hinkle and I are going to go out in May and watch.
It's a good set of eyes to have with you, too.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Between now and then, what have you got planned? You going to be doing any derbies between then and now?
Probably not. Got some T-ball coming up and going to be busy. I'm trying to get drivetrain put back together, so I'm probably going to relax a little bit this summer and run Utah and see what happens after that.
Suppose you can't go wrong with that, right?
Nope.
Right.
Definitely not.
Well, that sounds good. How about the points after you get back from Utah? If there's anything left of the car, are you going to try and make any local shows?
Yeah, we might try to hit some county fairs around home. It's getting pretty late in the year around here for county fairs, but I think there's a couple around that I can finish a car off if there's anything left.
I think that's so weird that the county fair season slides backwards by about a month. The closer to the center of the United States you get, the earlier the county fair season starts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. July's a pretty busy month out here.
That's
as far as derbying goes.
We're still busy right through August. I mean, there's still a county fair, at least one every weekend through the month of August, and even
Haven't
through.
you been to all of them at one point or another?
Huh?
Hey, you've been to all of them at one point or another.
I've been to a lot of them. I don't know about all of them, but I've been to a lot of them. Yeah. We're going to be at a bunch of them this year. I mean, that's sort of what we've signed up for, and working with Gully on Spinning Wheels shows. We're going to be at a bunch of his stuff in August and moving towards September, and then September gets here, we've got plenty of stuff on deck then too. And
before you know it, Blizzard Bash.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That is the way that's going to go. I lost your camera for some reason. I don't know what happened there, and it won't let me get it back. Oh well, we'll make it work somehow. We can grab one of those and slide it over in front of you. Well, we got a minute.
My beautiful voice and not see my beautiful face.
I know it. I know. What's the goal? I guess with just leave that one right where it is. Just leave that one right where it is. What's the goal? I guess with Wasatch Wipeout. I mean, we always talk to people who are making travels for the first time, going to new shows. After you get the feel for what the event is making the feature. Do you want to go there to win? Is Mad Dog something that's on the radar for you or for Michael? What's the goal with Wasatch?
Obviously, the goal is to go out there and try to win the thing, but I'm probably going to be content. If I can make the feature, I'd be pretty happy, I think. It's going to be hard anyway. You got guys from the Midwest going out. We'll be the out-of-towners, and nobody wants to let the out-of-towners win anyway.
That's true.
So,
Very true.
It's going to be tough, I think. It'll be a challenge, but it'll be fun.
I don't know. When you guys came to Whitney Point, you were the most popular guys there. I know that.
I don't know how that happened, but we'll take it.
It sure helped. I mean, you had a pretty serious cheering squad on your side.
Yeah, that was a pretty good time out there.
You got to make sure you do it again. I mean, I was excited to hear that you said that there might be some of those trips in the not too distant future. They do have that extreme class at San Filippo.
Yeah, Decker, he's been messaging me and Ryan Oldham's to build a car, but all of Ryan's derby stuff is still in Iowa, so he won't have it in Pennsylvania until after Utah in July.
Sounds like if the stuff's already all out there, you could build the car for him.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting started. I'm building Ryan's car for Utah. And then he's just going to take it back to Pennsylvania with him, so all of his stuff's out there.
That's cool.
Yeah, you're a good friend.
Absolutely.
I need to get started now, so I got time to build two cars.
Absolutely.
He bringing the same thing?
What's that?
Is he bringing the same thing?
I don't know what either one of us are going to run yet.
No, it's a long ways off. You still got 2 months. You're
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, I'm still getting all my cars stripped out so I can decide what I want to run.
Yeah.
How many cars you got just hanging out waiting to be built?
Oh, there's probably 4 or 5 sitting around here, I think.
That's not bad.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. You mentioned your wife giving you a lot of support, making the trip and treating it a little bit like a vacation. Who else helps get the cars together and is helping to make it possible for you guys to make that trip out to Heber City in July?
My dad spends a ton of time down here in the shop helping me. He probably shouldn't be. My mom says you do everything for him, but he likes to come down. I got some guys who I work with that help quite a bit. Some other friends, Tyler Ford and Scott Skippers, they come over and help quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to fly all the wives out there in July so we can take more people in pickups to help work on cars after the heats.
That's a good idea.
It's easier to do that than take a bunch of vehicles out there.
Sure. You made mention of your dad. Was he into Demolition Derby before you got into it?
Yeah, he derbied a little bit, just our local hometown stuff when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of started doing it, and now I've got a mess of stuff sitting around here.
What that's like.
Yeah, you can relate to that, can't you?
It doesn't take long to acquire a bunch of junk.
Yeah.
Sure doesn't.
Well, Ben, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anybody else that you wanted to make mention of before we let you go?
Nope, not that I can think of.
I appreciate you making some time and hanging out with us while you finished up on the grill. Wish you the best in your travels out there. Enjoy the show when you get out there to May Mania. It's going to be one to watch. Going with the 2-day format for that, with the heats the first day, the grudges and the features the second, and then it'll give you a good taste for what you guys can expect when you get out there for the Wasatch Wipeout in July.
Sure thing.
Ben, I appreciate it, guy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep, thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
There goes Ben Plate going out to watch May Mania here in a couple weeks, and then going to go be part of all of the festivities in Utah as well when we get out there for the Wasatch Wipeout coming up at the end of the month. For some reason, this has frozen solid completely, and it won't let me change anything, which is really handy.
For things like commercials and stuff?
Yep. It's I'm gonna go ahead and try and figure out how to fix this. We're gonna be making the trip. Yeah, well, I can. Your microphone still works. We just can't see your face. I'm gonna turn. Everybody gets to see my profile for a second while I try and juggle this.
Don't judge Chris. He's trying to fix it on the fly.
Yes.
You've seen this happen before.
That has happened before. I'm going to do that. Virginia's coming up around the corner. We're going to be leaving either Friday or Saturday. Haven't decided yet. The one and only Jake Sherman is going to be making the trip with us for...
Hey, look.
How about that?
Chris Marquardt
right?
is amazing.
Jason Sherman's going to be making the trip down there. And to answer everybody's questions, no, there's no live element. We're going to go live to tape with it. I'm bringing the stuff to put it down into the computer. So we'll be able to upload it after the fact. And the show starts at 5 o'clock. You got to be through tech inspection at 3. I'm looking forward to getting down there for that. It's going to be a good time.
Be live then?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. It's verbatim. It's almost word for word.
Goodness.
Almost word for word. The reason why we started that was so that we could do this. Everything's fixed.
Good.
Look at that.
Chris is the
man. I got nervous. Chaos in the Valley 2018. It's a couple of these two shows really dominate the landscape in Virginia. Jason and Penny Shipe have built something special, and it's for a great cause. The derbies are held to benefit Thomasville Volunteer Fire Department both in the fall and the spring. Coming up Saturday is going to be their Chaos in the Valley Spring Show. Showtime again, 5 o'clock. Stock, and compact classes, each of them paying $2,000 to win. They will take extra monies and inject it into the purse if they need to raise first place, second place money, third place money. All that is going to be based off the entries as well. No reason to question a decent paying afternoon. They draw cars great. We talked to Josh Wilkins last week about it. They're going to have the raffle car there to sell tickets, but the car won't be formally raffled off until we get to the fall. The fall date for them, October the 20th, Shenandoah County Fairgrounds, again in Woodstock. It's right off of 81. It's exit like 286. You'll pass all the cattle barns on 81. Get off at the ramp, take a left, and you're there. It's super easy to get to. Showtime in the fall, 5 o'clock. Monster bills, monster payouts. If you think Bash for Cash is cool, if you like that modified build, put those cars on steroids, and you've got the modified class, which oddly enough used to be the stock class for the fair. It's something. Make sure you get online. Check them out on Facebook, facebook.com/Chaos Valley. Stern Dirt Racing, we talked a little bit about them a few minutes ago. May Mania, it's the two-man team show, May 18th and 19th in Salt Lake City. That's at that Spirit of 47 arena that we talked about. The next big show after that is the Wasatch Wipeout. It's back on the schedule again, July 27th and 28th. You're going to see Ben Plate and Michael Lengert running together. $90,000 in prize money. It's in Heber City, Utah. Same 2-day format. Heats the first day, grudges and features. The second day, winner takes home $25,000. Fifth through last, get $1,000 for coming out onto the track. $5,000 Mad Dog Award. Farm trucks, front wheel drives, and passengers all on the cart as well for the Wasatch Show. $4,500 in payout for each. They got some neat ideas in terms of their payout, too. It's like a guaranteed X amount to win, a guaranteed X amount for Mad Dog, and the rest of the money is spread through all the drivers that show up, which is kind of cool. Basically, it's going to get them a good portion of their entry fees back. Bash for Cash is next on our schedule. We're going to be out there May 26th through the 28th at the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio. Near at Big Rock, $11,000 to win. Kicker class is now open to new and old iron. There's an old iron bonus in place. You can win an extra $3,000 if you win the feature in an old iron car. So it goes from $11,000 to $14,000 in your pocket. There's also a $1,500 bonus to incentivize those old irons to try it, and the highest placing old iron, if it's won by a metric, gets an extra $1,500. So not too bad of a payday there. The derbytees.com Turn Back the Clock class has all of the same incentives. The Imperials are added to this class for the first time, which is going to be really cool. I'm anxious to see just a couple. Just throw a couple out there. I don't need a lot.
I think there'll be a couple.
Just a couple out there. And they've got the flip-flop of the bonuses now. If their metric car can win in the old iron class, traditionally the old iron class, they get an extra $3,000 added to their purse, which would put them up $13,000, $14,000 to win as well. And if it's won by an old iron, there's that $1,500 bonus going to the highest placing metric if it's won by an old iron. Of course, the $10,000 to win DEC Hunters Compact class is back on the schedule. Frank the Tank Old School Wire class, the full-size trucks, the youth compacts. The compact trucks have openings as well. It's $75 to enter there. 80s wire class and street stocks are full. Hard to believe that those filled up fast, but they always do. And they could run 3 more flights of those if they wanted. People are knocking on the door to be part of that one. Road Rage Entertainment, their first show after they've been waiting in the wings for a couple of years now. Jake Sherman and the crew are going to be overseeing their first demolition derby June the 2nd at the Broome County Fairgrounds in Whitney Point. Compact Derby is sold out. There's a spot left in the truck teams, and the full-size V8s have 2 spots available. They've also got the one and dones on the schedule for the full-size V8 junk runs and compacts. 1,000 to win guaranteed in each of those one and dones. RC Derby with JMW Motorsports, Power Wheels, and the Kid Zone and Play area is going to be open as well. If the kids get bored and they don't want to see the Derby anymore, you can drop them off over there. There's a couple area teachers who have volunteered to keep an eye on the youngins so that you don't have to leave the Demolition Derby event as a whole. Quick message coming in from Ed Brewster, as we also got a message from Ray Giddings. We'll have to get to that too as well. JMW Motorsports is looking for some sponsors for the Derby cars for kids at Bash for Cash and Road Rage. You can get a hold of Ed Brewster on that. JMW doing that Cars for Kids deal where they build a turnkey, ready-to-go RC Derby car that is then handed to a kid, and the tickets are free. You just go around, the folks that are involved with it, the sponsors go around, they hand out the tickets to whoever they want to. It's a really, really good program that Ed Brewster's put together. They've worked with the Ciopas, with Smith Metalworks and stuff down in Pennsylvania, JC Molly's. Bunch of different people jumped on board. So they're looking for some people for Bash for Cash and also at Road Rage coming up June the 2nd. Spinning Wheels production season is going to start with the Jeffy's Fab Farm Mini Meltdown at the Otsego County Fairgrounds in Morris, June the 16th. 4,000 to win compacts, 4,000, 2,000, 1,000 is the payout for the top three. $1,000 Mad Dog, and the field is full. 105 cars, and they've already got the heat set. So they got their heat T-shirts here coming out pretty quick. So all the drivers will be able to wear their shirt with their name on it as we get closer to the Jeffy's Fab Farm Mini Meltdown. The one and done classes are 500 win plus 75% of the entries. The economy V8, limited weld V8, full-size trucks, and the compacts all on deck there. You can find out more information online, spinningwheelsproductions.com. Tell you quick about Brookfield Wheel Days. That is coming up in September at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Brookfield, New York. It's an annual fall cleanup event. It's an awesome show. I mean, there was 175 cars there 2 years ago, and there was 17 rounds of action that included the features. I was just watching, had a friend down in Mississippi, wanted to know a little bit more about Demolition Derby and what we do, and I sent them the highlight reel of Rick Egelhart from Brookfield Wheel Days and said, this is all you need to know. And they thought it was cool. So they're going to be tuning in to watch some of the live streams that we've got coming up, which is pretty cool. So we may have recruited a Demolition Derby fan. Want to know how we got to know each other? WWE. Madison County Fair in Brookfield, July the 12th and 14th. The Fair Championship pays $1,000 to win for the first in the compacts, $1,500 the winner of the full-size. Online, facebook.com/KingsSmash'em, or online, www.madisoncountyfairny.com. Blizzard Bash. That's right, Blizzard Bash. It's never too early to talk about Blizzard Bash. November the 7th is the heat draws. November the 8th at 4 o'clock is national qualifying first rounds. The November the 9th, 5 o'clock is the limited weld and compact heat draws. National qualifying round 2 at 6 o'clock on the 9th. November the 10th at 10 o'clock is the compact and limited weld team heats. All the Team B features, trucks, and limited weld one and dones are scheduled as the second part of that November 10th doubleheader at 6 o'clock. 1 o'clock is the start time for Championship Sunday. On the 11th, Bone Stock, 80s Mod, and all the Team A mains online, blizzardbash.com. So, I feel like we sufficiently covered all that stuff now that we're a little bit behind.
Running.
Well, I mean, we had some people that were bordering on concerned because we didn't have the show on Monday, and they have ad space, and they have shows coming up, and they wanted to make sure that there was going to be something this week, and had to calm them down. So we're not canceled. It's just we got to attend to some stuff at home first, and again, hopefully all that stuff shakes out in a positive fashion. So now we're going to get the one and only Tim Clark on the line, talk a little bit about his county fair season starts Saturday. Yeah. He's really ready for that too. He's looking forward to it.
He sounded at the end when I talked to him.
Unless he doesn't answer, in which case I'm wondering if he forgot. I wonder if he forgot.
Call Russ's phone.
You think that's a good idea? We'll get Russ on the air.
No, we better clear it with Russ first. I don't want to see.
I think it's probably smarter to double check with Russ ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't want to make Russ mad. Russ makes me a little nervous. He's way too quiet.
He makes you nervous?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah? You think so?
Yeah. Russ makes me nervous.
Hey, let me put you in. Usually we have to call Tim at home, but this time I called his cell phone and we found him. So I guess that's good. Tim Clark joining us on the
Probably out in the
hotline.
shop working on that raffle car.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up. I talked to him about that the other day. That's something that was on the to-do list. That and trying to figure out what to do with that beautiful Olds clamshell wagon that you got for sale. Has that been sold yet?
No, it hasn't been sold yet. I don't, that might even be a raffle car. Who knows?
That'd be cool. Why not? But usually we have you on to talk about one of the big three. It might be the show in March with Capital City Carnage or Blizzard Bash in November, or possibly even Bash for Cash in May. But this is the unofficial start to your county fair season coming up on Saturday in Washington Courthouse. You guys have got to be just so excited that's smack dab between Capital City Carnage and Bash for Cash.
Yeah, we're excited for it. I mean, it's a show that we kind of brought on this year, and it's going to do pretty decent. So, working on that and working on Bash for Cash, I think it's a full-time job.
Yeah, it definitely is. How many cars are you expecting this weekend, Tim, between your team cars and your support classes?
I got 120 cars signed up for the team and the one-shot deals.
Cool.
I took 16 teams, 4-man teams. Then the rest is all the one-shot deals. Cool. So it shouldn't be bad.
The unique thing with this is it's mapped out to be fairly stock, and it's sort of. Is it fair to say that this is sort of an experimental run to see what kind of support and what kind of attrition you have through the course of a heat and feature with a team format?
Yeah, it was. We kind of last year we had a $5,000 to win, like what we call street stock here in Ohio. It's pretty much what everybody calls gut and go. And then, it worked out pretty decent. So I thought, well, this team thing, with Blizzard Bash and all that stuff, it's working really good. So let's try a stock class team event. And with this, you get a 4-man team. Plus, I gave you a fresh car. Your team can bring a fresh car to run in the feature.
Pretty cool.
That's a good idea.
Well, the team actually gets 5 cars.
Now, Tim, for the people listening that haven't had a chance to look at the rules yet, would you compare this build? Is it like to your '80s wire class at Bash, or is it more like the Frank the Tank old?
It's actually even smaller than that. You can't even because most of them's Fords, 1980 and newer. You have to run a stock motor. Start it with a key switch. It's like back in the days. I mean,
that's cool.
So everybody's running the 4.6 Fords, and if you bring the Chevy, you're running the 305 Chevy in them.
That's cool.
It's key shift, column shift. Beat the windows out, wire the doors shut, and go have fun.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a cool build.
It is a cool build, and to have it in the team format, I think is equally interesting, because you certainly have some major variabilities there, but you get to bring a fresh car, which is now you've got to build instead of the team building 4 cars, you have to build 5, and you've got to get 5 cars through tech inspection. My first question when I was talking with Tim about putting this show together is, well, how many plates are the cars going to be allowed? And you're not letting anybody have any plates. It's all 9-wire.
No, it's going to be all 9-wire. We're not, because we don't want this class to get carried away like all the other classes has got carried away with 6 plates and all that. So this is pretty much an average guy can get a car, bring it, get a couple buddies on a team, and you can come and win. This team, it pays $4,000 to win, $3,000 for second, and $2,000 for third. So it's this weekend it's like a $20,000 purse for the whole show.
For a
so
stock
something,
class.
But it's stock.
That's awesome.
It's like knock the windows out and run it.
That is awesome.
You can weld your front bumper on your back bumper, and you can weld your rear end posi. That's the only welding you can do on the whole car.
Now, see, I talked to Josh about what the rules were at this show, and he goes, "Yeah, it's stock. It's street stocks. It's Ohio street stock. It's smash it street stock. So if any place else in the country, it'd be full outlaw."
Yeah, probably. I guess I don't know. I mean, but yeah, Ohio definitely got from stock builds to crazy builds. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, you heard what you can do. It's a very, very simple build. And I missed it. I was fiddling with a computer over here on the side when you said it. you've got year limitations on it as well.
Yeah, it's 1980 and newer, you know. So it's all 80 cars for that class. Then we have another one-shot deal, you know, class. Then we got a mini car class, one-shot deal. Then we got what we're calling a mod class, and it's pretty much kickers plus a little extra, and it's a cleanup show kind of class. So we got a class for everybody at this show. We didn't want to go do kickers because, of course, Bash for Cash is 30-some days away, so we just went to like a mod class where it's heavy built.
Right.
It was funny. I was talking with Tim earlier, or a night or two ago, and I was talking to him about the upcoming show and how the weather was and stuff. Because today's about the best day we've had in probably a month. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's been around 50 down here. You know, it's not been bad. So it's definitely sounds like." And he said it's supposed to be around 50 this weekend. So it sounds like they're gonna have great weather.
Yeah.
Does the Washington Courthouse? I mean, you guys always drew well there for Bash. I mean, does it the like this type of derby? Does that draw pretty good there as well?
It should be pretty decent. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, a lot of people in Ohio like the more heavier builds. I mean, but the crowd should be pretty good. I mean, most of my county fairs around Ohio that we're doing these classes, and we're getting 50 to 100 cars of just these cars at a county fair. So, I mean, there's a lot of people like it because it's a cheap build, you know, so everybody comes out.
And the thing is, I mean, these cars, they get turned inside out quick. I mean, they're just, you know, stock cars. They get junk quick. That's definitely, you know, a bonus to this class. I mean, people really get to see stuff tore up.
Yep, and that's what catches the fans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the casual fan wants to see a car that it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
When it's done, not before it goes out onto the track.
Yeah.
Which
exactly.
we've seen cars. It's like, wow, I'm not sure what that used to be, but now it's going to be a Blizzard Bash.
In theory, it was a Vic, and they put 10,000 pounds of steel into it. And now it's a tilted Vic. I don't know. It's crazy.
Some of the places that we've traveled to have an 80s and newer rule that allow you to run the stuff as long as it's the shared build platform and shared body style to pull the stuff from the 70s. Like you could go back to, I'm going to try to pull memory correctly, like a 77 Ford LTD because it was the same, or perhaps along the lines of an Impala or a Caprice. Can you do that, or does the build stamp on the VIN have to be 1980 and up?
It's 1980 and up, you know, because like you said, you can get into 79 Chrysler. It's pretty heavy duty, you know. So we keep it at 1980 and newer to make it all even, you know, because, you know, some of the Cadillacs, a 79 Cadillac, they're pretty stiff, you know. But
wait, what? A 79 Cadillac's pretty stiff. Really?
Yeah, you can,
we want everybody on an even playing field in this class, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely.
A 79 Cadillac is good. I know a guy who used to run those.
Yeah.
Kenny's done some good with them. Mm-hmm. Kenny Rosno.
These others, I don't know if it's 79, but there's it might be a 78 or 79 Cadillac that's leaf sprung. Cadillac DeVille.
I think it's a 79.
Yeah.
I know which it's a little body style Cadillac, has leaves on it. I forget exactly what it's called, but yeah, stuff like that. I'd probably clean house in a show like this, so we try to stay away from that year.
Cause some problems, does it?
Yeah.
So how are things looking for Bash?
The Bash is looking great. I mean, you know, the last time I looked, because Russ is keeping all the entries and stuff like that. The last time I looked was 580 in entries. So, but I would say it'll be right at 600 again. I mean, the Bash has been so great. I mean, all the Derby fans and Derby drivers have been great to the Bash. I mean, they support it really well. So, I mean, it's one hell of a show, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We last year we got lucky. We just got done with the last feature, and as we were leaving, it started to rain, so that worked out all right.
Yep.
Great show though, man. That's the one that I'm trying to get a bunch of people to come watch and check stuff out, because you have such a variety, you know, of builds and driving styles there. I mean, that's a show that, you know, people really need to come out and check out, because it's you get it all there. I mean, you get the hard built kicker cars, you get the turn back the clock old iron, you get the 80s wire, Frank the Tank old school, everything. There's a class there for literally everything.
And the old school wire class steals the show every time.
Every time.
It's unbelievable, that's for sure. That Frank the Tank heat is probably the best heat of the night.
Every time.
In terms of your entries, first on Bash for Cash, going back to that, you said you're at 580. Does that include Power Wheels and lawnmowers?
No, we're not even doing lawnmowers this year at the Bash.
Okay.
So we don't even take entries for Power Wheels. So that is actually car count.
Wow.
So
that is crazy.
Vehicles.
Now, how long after Bash is it before your full go summer fair schedule starts?
3 hours.
I didn't hear you.
How long after Bash is it before your summer schedule, your fair schedule actually starts?
We actually start in June. About the middle of June is when we got a couple fairs. Then July, it just gets stupid, and August is really crazy for us. And so about the middle of June is when we really start humping.
Nice. Yeah, we last count. I think you said you had 51 or 52 this year.
What's that?
I said last count. I think you said you had 51 or 52 shows this year.
Yeah, I think I have 50 county fairs, and then with Blizzard Bash and Capital Carnage and Bash for Cash, I think I have 53 shows this year.
Yeah, those last three. I mean, they're
I really want to commend you for backing down this year as Russ returns to work full time. I think it's really respectable. Slowing the pace. I didn't think that was funny.
It's a full-time, thing, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Russ, he gets mad at me all the time. He's like, dude, you need to slow down.
And it appears as though you have not been listening to him when he tells you that.
You broke up, Brian. I didn't hear you.
I said it appears as though you have not been listening to Russ when he tells you to back down and not have so many derbies.
Well, actually, at the fair convention, we could have done a couple more shows. We picked up a couple new ones this year, and I want to stay right around the 50 mark. I told Russ I wouldn't go too many more after that. I think we could have done a couple more, but he's like, dude, we need to pay attention here, and so we kind of stopped. 1 week, we have 3 derbies in one day. That's the hardest for us. We split up crews. We go to 3 different fairs in one day. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You are not kidding.
So
that's crazy. I mean, the schedule that you guys keep is pretty rigorous, and you're in pretty high demand in Ohio at this point. It would seem that you can start thinning the herd a little bit.
You must be outside.
Yep.
He didn't see it.
What's that?
Just impressive how the point that you've got to be so in demand in Ohio as a whole, and branching out into West Virginia and a couple of the fairs in Kentucky and things along those lines. To where are you at a point now where you can sort of just pick and choose the ones that you want to do and focus hard around them?
Yeah, I'm at a point where I can pick and choose. That's for sure. I mean, because some of these county fairs are getting smaller and smaller, and sometimes it ain't even worth doing them.
Right.
So we kind of watch that too.
I'm thinking back to some of the stalker shows that we've seen. One that comes to mind is Cuca Clash. The stalker rules for the 2-man extreme class. What we've seen Ron McClung do in some of his ventures with 98 era Crown Vics. There's no restrictions beyond 80s and newer, so a 98 Crown Vic could run theoretically, right?
You guys, your phone's breaking up. I can't hardly hear you. Or is it my phone?
I don't know. Have you got me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So just to recap, we were looking at there's no restriction on cars, so anything 1980 and newer is legal. You don't have any restrictions on 98 to 02s. You can run those in the stock class as well?
Yeah, I guess, it has to be, like, if it's 80 and newer, it's fine, as a car-wise.
So I guess what comes to mind then, looking at Ohio, Is it worth
some of
it?
these guys in Ohio, they're getting these 4.6 to run as good as the small block Chevys. So,
Right.
I mean, that's what most of these Crown Vics has is the 4.6, and they can really get them to run pretty good.
So you don't have all the hop-out parts on it. Is it worth it to have one or two Luminas on the team, or to get a rear-wheel drive AMC that's built in that 1980 parameter, so you're getting a little bit back in terms of mobility because they're tough? Or do you put a Mustang out there on the track and try your luck with that?
It'd be interesting.
You know?
Interesting to see.
Because you're getting a lot of mobility, and theoretically you can get into the steering on those Fords.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can load your bumpers on.
Yeah. You're breaking up a lot. I don't know what I'm here picking up my Cadillac at a body shop, in the detail shop, and I'm breaking up a lot.
All right. Well, we'll let you go. Good luck with the show this weekend. Hopefully everything goes smooth. I like the idea, and your Derby season will have started officially once you get to that point, because we're a little over 30 days away from the Bash for Cash taking flight as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for sure we'll see each other, talk to each other before 30 days. I think we got, 38 days before the Bash, so
something like that.
It'll be here before we all know it, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
We will definitely be in touch. Good luck with the car.
All right, sounds good.
We'll see you later, Tim.
Thanks for having me on.
Goodbye.
Sure. There goes Tim. I'm feeling like the phone wasn't our fault this time.
No, I think he was out. I think he was outside, and it sounded like it was windy the way it was.
And if it was anything like the weather's been around here, it's upper 30s, windy, and threatening snow.
Yeah,
because it's been that way for the last 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great though. Summer this week of summer that we get in July is going to be great before we head into fall.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's supposed to start getting nice this weekend. We'll see if it holds out.
That's a vicious lie and heresy.
Yeah, it's getting close, man. I'm starting to get the itch. I don't know. Looking forward. First show is going to be Gully's Father's Day weekend show. Mm-hmm. Going down there for the stock class, and looking forward to it.
It's going to be good. Scott Tatters messaged in during that exchange saying that it was a Seville. It was a Seville.
That's what it was.
Was the one. I'm pretty sure that Gully had one of those for sale at one point.
I think he still has it. I could be wrong, but I know I've seen Corey Rollier run one, and he put on a show with it. They were tough cars. I seen Dan Godfrey run one. I've seen a few of them run. They're tough on both ends because they don't do the potato digging like the other Cadillacs of that era.
Sure.
And the nose is it's a Cadillac nose. So.
Bill Pullen had one of those at Waterloo one year. I think it was an 81, and it was the diesel version. Do you remember that?
No.
Painted up black and white?
No.
No? I do.
What year was it?
04. It was the year after he ran the Jaguars-themed wagon the second time, and it was the second car like that he drove. The first one that he had, I believe, was an 81, and he had it painted up in the America theme, and it was in the best appearing car competition. The second one was white and black, but I mean, everybody knows that. That's just common knowledge, right?
That's awesome. Chris Marquardt. I wish I could have a memory like you.
I can't remember first names for anything, but all the old stuff's still there. Mm-hmm. I can access it a little bit now and then.
What do you think?
I think we're going to have a show back on regular Monday, barring anything unforeseen. We're going to be talking with some folks about the results from Cass in the Valley. We're going to be looking ahead to May Mania. We're going to be looking ahead to Bash for Cash, try and catch up with a couple drivers that are going to be running both this weekend in Virginia and at the Bash for Cash coming up again at the end of May. And also we've got waiting in the wings. We just need to pull the trigger on it. So this could be next Monday as well. Jeremy Gully and Josh and some of the other folks that are tied with Spinning Wheels Productions are going to be making the trip up to come and hang out.
I know Jeremy's on vacation right now, so he may. I'm not sure when he comes.
It might not be next Monday, but that's also something that's coming down the line. Is we're going to get that put together, and looking forward to making the trip down to Virginia again. It's always good to see those guys. We're going to be announcing again and doing it live to tape. So give me a couple days, we'll get that loaded up, and Jake Sherman's going to come down and help out with it. And now that I mention it, I think David LeJewitt was talking about making the trip down too. So if he can get himself close to I-81, we'll find a way to get him in the van and get him down there to Virginia.
That's cool.
Yup. I need to get the outro queued up, and then we'll end this thing. So that's going to do it for us here at the North Park Building at Academy Square. Thanks to Ben Plate. He gets ready to make the trip out to watch May Mania and then take part in the Wasatch Wipeout recon mission. I think it's a good move. Go out there and see what it's like for the first time. Big thanks out to Tim Clark and all the folks that make the crash course possible. We'll see you again next week when we're back on Monday nights. Special edition of the crash course in the books. That's going to do it for us here. 2:25. We're all done. We'll see you next time.
Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.